Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Andrew Alvarez, and I am the Latino conservative. This week, I am coming to you from San Antonio, Texas, and I need a little extra go-go juice. So instead of coffee, I've got a little pre-workout mix. So if you hear that little ball rattling, I do apologize. But I had somebody ask me the other day, "Hey, I noticed you take drinks while you're filming. Why? Aren't you supposed to be just talking?" Well, if you look at other big podcasts, um, Dan Bongino, you look at Tim Pool, those guys, they drink water, but they don't talk the entire time. They've got somebody else talking with them. And me, it's just a one-man gang. So I'm going to drink water or whatever I drink. Either way. So I come to you from wherever I am. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Andrew Alvarez. I travel the country for a living. I'm in a different place every week for the most part. Sometimes I'm in a hotel room, like you see here. Sometimes I'm in my own home working remotely. Just depends on the business needs at that point in time. I do this totally free. So if you could, the best way you can help support this channel, if you like it, if you don't like my content, oh well, you can argue with me in the comments all you want. I don't care, as long as it's respectful. But if you like the comments or the content that I put out there, help me out. Like, share, subscribe, sign up for alerts, and I've also included a link down below. It's going to be in the description and or the pinned comments, depending on what platform you're on, because you could watch this on Rumble, you can watch this on YouTube. I've even got this in an audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, and a couple other platforms as well. All of those links are down below. But I've also included a link to, I'm going to call it my other stuff, and it will show you the way you can help support me by merch and stuff like that. So if you feel like that's great, but I've got some topics to talk about specifically. The first one, let's take a flashback of what happened January 6th. There was a raid, quote unquote, on the Capitol. So much so, there was so much violence that was thought that there was going to happen that for the inauguration that just happened, yesterday? What day is today? Yeah, actually it happened 2 days ago. They've had to have National Guardsmen there protecting the Capitol. Okay, I get it. You don't want the Viking guy out there to interrupt the inauguration. I get that. You can just be like Bernie, or with the mittens, you can be like Bernie. Maybe you didn't want him to storm the Capitol, but the Democratic Party was responsible for bringing in the National Guard because they were swearing in and inaugurating the Democratic vice president and the president. Okay, I get you want protection. I get this. Totally agree with that you should have protection. 100%, maybe not as much as you needed, but you definitely wanted to make sure Viking guy didn't recruit other Viking guys or other people from The Simpsons came over and caused hell. Okay, I can get that. And I really appreciate each and every Guard member out there, because regardless of where they were, regardless of the level of threat, severity of threat that was out there, they were still willing to put their life on the line for this country, for the democratic process, not the party, but the process that this country has. They're willing to do that. That's the job they signed up for. But National Guard was forced to evacuate Capitol grounds after alleged mass complaint by Democratic congressman. How is that for a slap in the face? So you are over here defending that person right there, giving him the opportunity to do his job because he's afraid of Viking guy again. That guy. And then he tells you, hey, man, you're not wearing a mask, so you got to leave. So let's get more into this. It's not just leave. The National Guard troops were forced to evacuate the Capitol building grounds on Thursday and hang out in parking garages. Yeah. So the Democratic congressman was Will Keating is his name, reported to the Capitol building authorities earlier in the day that a National Guardsman was seen in a Dunkin' Donuts without a mask. Okay. There's a good chance that if a guardsman is in Dunkin' Donuts, he's eating Dunkin' Donuts. Damn, I kind of want some Dunkin' Donuts now too. Does that go along with my diet? But this guardsman, this congressman, this snowflake Democratic congressman complained that this guardsman wasn't wearing a mask. Now, the guardsmen, they don't know who it is yet. They're looking for him, quote unquote. After Keating commented out loud that the masks were required to be worn at all times in the federal building, the National Guard's member said, I appreciate my freedom. Ooh. That was kind of like, take that, you freaking snowflake. Maybe he should have called Viking guy to defend him. Take a sip on that. But how does that work? So tell me, and that's I found this on Breitbart, however you say the name. But how does that work? How does it work calling somebody to do something for you for free and it risks their lives? Then you say, hey, you're not doing it good enough, or you're doing this wrong. Fool, I ain't being paid by you. You're not my boss. And chances are that National Guardsman was from a state totally different than the Congress representative there. Chances are. And Congressman Bill Keating posted a tweet later on saying, grateful for the opportunity today to thank some of the members of the National Guard deployed to D.C. from Massachusetts. Thank you to all the guardsmen and guardswomen for all the 54 guards who have stepped away from their family and work to protect the seat of our democracy. A job well done. So he just posted that. This is an old guy too. So maybe my snowflake comment might have not been, it was appropriate. You can go search Twitter for this now, and you'll see pictures of guardsmen sleeping in the garage. Thank you, guardsmen. You know, that's a real slap in the face to them from this Congress representative. But that's thank you. Now here's some bread. Go eat bread for lunch. Bread and water for lunch. That's all you get. They have to use porta potties now because of this. Governor Abbott did something awesome. I totally, me and Governor Abbott have a love-hate relationship. Some of the stuff he does, I don't like, but some of the stuff he does, I do like this one. He tweeted out, I have instructed General Norris to order the return of Texas National Guard to our state. That's our army. The Texas National Guard is Texas's army. He's saying, if you can't appreciate my men and my women, our men and our women, you don't get to have them. If you don't appreciate them, you don't get to have them. So I'm going to bring them back. Good on you, Governor Abbott. Now, there were approximately 2,500 National Guard forces were deployed to Washington, D.C. to assist with the federal law enforcement authorities' protection, the inauguration of Joe Biden as president. Again, that just blows my mind. You call on the military to protect you. The military goes in and they want to get some donuts or maybe some coffee. Dunkin' has some good coffee. I've had coffee all around the country, and Dunkin' has some good coffee. I like it better than Starbucks coffee, except for that new pistachio coffee they got at Starbucks. But either way, your guardsman is protecting you. In their little off time, they go have some Dunkin' Donuts, some coffee, maybe both. Maybe they even had a kolache or a sausage roll. How do they eat with the mask on? How do they drink with the mask on? So are you telling me, Congress Representative Bill Keating, that you've never taken a drink of water in a federal building during the mask mandates? That you've never snuck some snacks in your office? I mean, it's a federal building. Here's to drinks. Okay, so let's move on. So Joe Biden is already up to it. Second day, today's his second full day as a president, and he's already doing crap. For one, he is ordering illegals to be counted in the census. Now, I'm all for illegal immigrants having certain rights, certain freedoms, the inalienable ones, freedom to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They can get that. Certain constitutional rights, I believe that they have access to as well, because without access to those constitutional rights, they don't stand a chance of perhaps achieving their dream of becoming a legal citizen. I get that. Counting them in the census, one thing they do not have the right to do is vote. They have none at all. I don't believe they should ever have that as long as they are illegal. Once they cross that line and they are legal citizens of this country or documented or however, they can vote. I get that. I want that to happen. If they're not, if they are illegal, if they are undocumented, because there are some documented people here that are still illegal. I know that. I've seen them. I know them personally. But Joe Biden says he's going to want them to be counted in the census. Let's ponder on that for just a second. What the census does is it helps in the drawing of the district lines, congressional district lines. Each state is allotted a certain number of congressional representatives. Now, the two states that have the highest illegal population, might be a good word, California and Texas. There are bands and caravans of illegal immigrants coming to Texas. They're coming from Honduras, Guatemala, via Mexico. Now, Mexico has participated in a plan that Trump had, basically saying if you're illegal, no matter what country you're coming from, you're going to stay in Mexico. So if you're from El Salvador, you come through Mexico, you're going to stay in Mexico until we can get you in. I get that. But now with Joe Biden out here getting ready to count all of these illegal immigrants, I'm pretty sure Mexico is going to say, hey, we don't need to do that anymore. We had that agreement with Trump, not with you. So let them all in. Pásale. They're going to be counted in our census. So these states, California and Texas, where the Latino vote, Trump got a lot of Latino votes. I'll put it this way. Trump got a lot of the Latino votes, but you go down to the border towns. Those are blue districts. And those are going to be influxed with more blue people. And I say red or blue, you know the difference, Republican or Democrat. Those people were stuck in Mexico, stuck in Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, Venezuela. They're stuck in all of those countries. They came through Mexico. Trump, the Republican, said no. Biden says, hey, we're even going to count you in our system. So those districts where they get counted in there, they're going to get more money, AKA California is going to drain the Federal Reserve even more. So they'll also get health care allocated to those people. So, what this means for the person up in Wilmington, Ohio, or Missoula, Montana, is that somebody that's not technically here, they're physically, but not technically, they are potentially getting healthcare allocation. That same healthcare that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, everybody on the left said, hey, we need a free, whatever we call it, healthcare. We need universal healthcare for all. Those same people that are in here illegally are getting that, going to get that healthcare that somebody in Missoula, Montana might need. But that's a Republican state. Another drink. I believe this is a ploy to try to turn Texas blue. I really do. I wish I can say this in Spanish, but for those of you who know me, I don't speak very well Spanish. The only time my parents spoke Spanish to me was when I was in trouble or when they didn't want me to know what they were saying. They had a secret. So either way, I knew how to get out of the room so I wouldn't get in trouble. But if you are fleeing a country because of oppression, suppression, the economic value isn't there. Your rights are being violated. All this other trash that you leave in this country for. Remember that. Because if you do get the chance to vote, hopefully you do, remember that. And remember that if you do get that chance to vote, that blue party that you're leaving is known as the Democratic Party here, the blue party here, the liberals. That Vamos in Guatemala, that party is a Democratic Party. Don't forget that. That's important. You don't want to vote what you're leaving. It's just like California. Californians are leaving in drones. They're leaving to Texas and they're leaving to Arizona and to Oklahoma and even to California. So you've got these millions of people leaving all the time, so much that California has made a law that, and I forget the exact date when this goes into effect. But if you leave California, California is still going to tax you. You're not even a freaking resident of the state anymore, and they're still going to tax you. So don't forget, you're leaving that for a reason. Don't vote for what you're leaving. Austin, keep it weird, but remember, a lot of people in Austin now are from California. Austin looks like San Francisco to me now. And I've been to both places. I'm just waiting for someone to whip it out and go pee on the side of the road and not get in trouble. I don't want to see that. And I don't want Austin to come to that because Austin is a nice town, except for the tent cities that I saw. Granted, these people need a place to live. I get that. But Austin, the mayor of Austin, has allowed it to become California Junior. So these people coming in from Mexico, from wherever, though you might be counted in the census, don't vote. If you get the opportunity to vote, don't vote like what you're leaving. So other things that Biden has done already, he ordered the stop of the Keystone Pipeline. He ordered the halt of the wall. And he's threatening oil field jobs. Three key points, three key job sources right now, he is immediately threatening. The Keystone Pipeline, you got pipe fitters that we rely on as a world, not just as a country. I know somebody here, quite a few people actually, that they live in Texas, but quite frequently go to different countries to be pipe fitters over there off of a US-based company. He's threatening those jobs already. Keystone Pipeline is a pipeline that goes from Canada to the United States. It crosses both countries, but he's already halted that. Thousands of jobs done. The wall. Yeah, I understand. The wall was a job with that had an immediate end to it. Meaning, when the job was done, those jobs were going to be gone. I understand that. However, in the meantime, there's still plenty of wall left to be built. Trump built over 400 miles of it. The Mexico-US border is way bigger than 400 miles. In fact, 400 miles really and truly is only a small part of Texas. But he stopped that. Thousands of jobs. Not only the builders of the wall, but the producers of the material, the steel workers, the operators, the dozer operators, the tractor operators, whatever you want to call them, the fuel delivery people that would deliver the fuels from the stations to the construction sites. They don't have that job anymore. And he's threatening Texas oil field workers. I know plenty of people in Texas, out of Texas, that rely on that work for their families. So you are right now, immediately within the first day of office, canceling thousands of jobs, maybe millions, threatening them, threatening the lives of thousands of families, millions of families. How about their kids? So who's going to pay for them? Oilfield workers really and truly are a big backbone of this country when it comes to finances, because individual finances, you got two types of people. You got the people who work and people who don't work. Let's go to the people who work. You've got people that are kind of like, the minimum wage workers, retail workers. They're important too. Don't get me wrong. They are vital to this country. So you've got those. Then you've got your middle right here. They make about $50,000 to $75,000 a year. Then you've got $75,000 to $150,000. Anything over $150,000, those are the workers that I consider to be well off, well-to-do. Not necessarily middle class. I kind of consider them upper class already, even though they're not millionaires. They still make a ton of money. But you got $75,000 to $150,000 a year. That range right there is where most of the oil field workers land. And it's not a salary thing, because their salary isn't all that high, but they work a crap ton of overtime. But those guys, those hard workers, they're a different type of people. That oil field group, and that falls in that range, they're a different type of people. They are great people. They are fun. They work hard. And you know what else they do? They play hard. By playing hard, they spend money. Okay, some maybe not as responsibly as others. I get that, but they spend money. And what does spending money do? It helps the economy. That's one thing that I've always preached to people that I know locally. My hometown is in Victoria, Texas. And I've got a lot of friends, for some strange reason, that like to go out of town to buy a car when they've got that same type of car in town. There's nothing different. The price is the same. But they would rather go out of town to go buy that car. What they're doing then is they are getting another salesperson paid as opposed to the one locally. That salesperson isn't going to drive from Houston to Victoria or Austin, San Antonio, Corpus Christi to Victoria to go have fun or to go spend money. No, they're going to do it in their own town. And I get it. There's vacations and stuff. I get it. Just because you make money in one town doesn't mean you're going to spend it in that town. I totally understand that. But you make money in one town, you're more likely, and you'll spend more money in that one town. So if you were to spend money in Victoria buying a car, that salesperson would get paid for selling that car. It's no secret. Sales works off of commission. But that salesperson, they're going to spend money in Victoria. They're going to pay their rent. They're going to buy food, buy groceries. They're going to buy gas, entertain themselves. All of this stuff they're going to do locally. So these oil field workers out there, they're making this money in the oil field. They're going to spend it in their own towns, in their own states for the most part, in their country. See where I'm getting at? They are helping the country's economy, economic-y, whatever, whatever, But anyway, they're helping the country's economy by working because they work hard, they play hard, they go out and buy cars, trucks, boats, they go fishing, they go hunting, and they spend money doing it, but they earn that right too. By default, them spending their money here in the United States, instead of us having to buy oil from other countries, we're paying our guys here to work in the oil fields. So they go spend money locally. They go buy boats, cars, trucks, whatever. That person that they're buying from locally, then in turn gets more of that reward. That salesperson gets commission. That retail worker, they have a job there. They have a reason to go to work because these oil field people are working. And the cycle just goes on and on. Threatening these oil field jobs is a detriment to our economy. We're going to be forced to buy oil offshores again from Iraq, Iran, and that brings up a whole different issue. Are we going to get in bed with them again, with Iraq and Iran? Because, yeah, we saw how good that worked out. Next on the list, Senate Democrats call for ethics probes into Cruz and Hawley. Hawley. Isn't that a name that they call Cavachos in Hawaii? Howley. Either way. So a group of Senate Democrats filed a complaint to the Senate Ethics Committee seeking an investigation of GOP Senators Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, saying they helped spread baseless claims of election fraud that contributed to the January 6th storming of the Capitol by an angry mob. Okay. They can file the complaint. It says these are Democrats. Their complaints are going to be heard. If a Republican did that, it wouldn't. It'd just go by the wayside. But this is kind of scary. This is why I say labels don't matter. Because this right here, they're saying that Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, actually spread the rumors of election fraud. And they didn't. They said they were going to object. Specifically because there hasn't been a full, decent investigation into the actual elections. There hasn't. And there still hasn't been. I think Georgia is still doing something with theirs, counting for whatever. There's at least a couple states that are still counting other runoffs, but there was never a real full investigation into them. All those cases were dismissed. And you know what? At this point in time, it doesn't matter. Because Joe Biden is a president. Yes, I said it. He's my president. But they're saying that Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley helped spread these rumors. Nope. If you can't see what I'm doing on this and you're on an audio podcast, I'm giving a big head shake. I've said this time and time again. And I just said it a second or two ago. Just because I put a label on something, or just because somebody puts a label on something, doesn't mean that label is actually right. Key point. I've been called racist. I have been called, get this, white supremacist. If you're just listening to this podcast and you're not actually watching, well, for one, you should see the name of the podcast, The Latino Conservative, but look at the skin color. There's a little white right here, but that's from the light and, kind of shiny forehead type thing that I can't freaking edit out, but I'm not white. But I'm a white supremacist, go figure. Cruz and Hawley were among the leaders of the 147 Republicans in the House and Senate who objected on the day of the riots to at least one state certification. This is where it gets scary. Because though the Democrats have the majority in the House, and it's 50-50 in the Senate, so technically, even though it's 50-50, they have the majority because Kamala Harris is the Senate president. She is the deciding vote. 147 Republicans were also included in the objections. They objected. So, if this goes through with Cruz and Hawley, what's to stop them from removing 147 other representatives. It's a scary thought. If they remove all of the 147 representatives who objected because of something they made up, they're going to make up a term, they're going to make up a charge that's going to be baseless. But that's how the Democrats work. Everything is baseless with them, but they get it done because they can. They are establishment and they have that power to do it. If they remove 147 other representatives, we're in for some trouble. There's going to be no objection to anything. They can't, as it is right now, with the number of Republican representatives out there, there is still some pull power. They can still negotiate with the Democratic Party, with other Democratic representatives, perhaps in their own state. They can still work with them. You take out 147, it's done. There's no negotiation power. There's no power of the purse string. There's nothing that they can do. And it's just going to be free for all. And like I've told people before, I understand and I get some of the Democratic ideologies, but I do lean more Republican, obviously, Latino conservative, go figure. But if there's no more authority to do or no more power, we lose 147 seats, we're done for. This country's going to tumble, and it's already at the top of the hill, ready to go down that hill. And once it starts going down, it's going to be it. That's the experiment will be over. The self-governing experiment will be over if that happens. The letter demanded that the Ethics Committee offer recommendations for disciplinary action, including expulsion or censure if warranted. They're taking away Texas's representation because of a baseless claim. That's how the Democratic Party works, guys. Y'all voted for him. I didn't. Thanks again, guys, for letting me rant and rave at you. Remember, be a voice, not an echo. Stand up for your voice. If you want to be a voice, but you don't have the tools to do it, or you're afraid. I'm not afraid. Y'all know me. I ain't afraid to say anything. That's just me. But if you want to send me a message, Andrew at thelatinoconservative.com. You can email me and I will keep it anonymous if you want to, and I'll bring that topic up. Andrew at thelatinoconservative.com. Feel free to drop me a comment, like, share, subscribe, sign up for alerts. Click the links down below. Get some merch. Buy the merch. Love y'all. Y'all have a good day.